Harsha Bhogle likes to call these contra wins, not upsets. But at this point, I think we are better off not looking for terms anymore because Afghanistan don't look like a side that are trying to pull off upsets. They look like a side that's trying to establish themselves as this new force of Asian cricket and possibly make it to the top four. Here to discuss that in today's episode of The Morning After, Fardin Kibri as always, and with us once again is Fardin Afnan. So, Afnan, now that you're back, let's start with you. Amazing, amazing win. They completely outclassed their opponents today. What do you have to say?
No, it seemed like as Gurbaz said like right after the game, I don't think a lot of people heard it, but like it was picked up on that camera
Yeah,
that we've been wanting to beat them. We've been waiting for this day for the last 7 years. They've beaten us 7 times in the past, but today was truly a day we were all looking forward to, and when the day came, we all delivered.
yeah,
I don't think he went in that much details as I did right now, but like in short, he basically said he was waiting for 7 years, and I
yeah,
think it looked like a very professional Afghan team today out there on the field. Um, like wins like these, like it's not fair to label them as upsets because it feels like there was a lot of planning that went behind the scenes when they like before when they were planning out for the game, and that was clearly visible from the way they were bowling at the Pakistani batters. And like although their batters, Pakistani batsmen today, they got off to a really good start, but then we saw um Imamul Haq getting trapped in the exact same way. He's been trapped for the last few games. Got
yeah,
out to a short delivery trying to pull the ball, got out to short mid wicket,
yeah.
and like even Abdullah Shafiq too, he was looking really good, but like they figured out a way to get him out as well. So overall, it was a really clinical and professional performance from Afghanistan.
As Afnan said, it's hard to call it an upset because overall, Afghanistan just looked like the out and out better team. No one could guess that 7-0 record. If you just show them this match, I don't think anyone could have guessed that 7-0 ODI record. So is it to do with Pakistan completely losing their form in this losing streak that they've been going through, or Afghanistan finding their zone? Just, this is the cream of the crop when it comes to Afghanistan cricket. This is the best golden generation easily. So
Yeah.
is it just the result of that we're seeing right now?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it the way it is right now, for Afghanistan, they have a team that's pretty balanced. They cover up all facets of the game. And we talked about Noor Ahmed probably coming in today, and he just came in playing debut game at the World Cup at such a big stage, delivered like, it was nothing, been there, done that kind of a situation. So, um, yeah, I mean, this looks for them to have an 8 wicket win is not an upset. It's a thrashing, right? That's as simply
Yeah,
put. It's a thrashing, right? It doesn't matter if they won it with 1 over left or 2 overs left. They
exactly.
won by 8 wickets.
Yeah.
That's as simple as that.
I mean, as Kip said, like from a fan's perspective, it seems like an out and out thrashing, and but if you were to listen to what the commentators were saying in the com box, when the game was when the game was towards the finishing, when the game was towards the end, it seemed like everyone was trying to make an excuse for Pakistan, and
Yeah, yeah,
why, it's they were like they were,
yeah.
I mean they were also shocked as well with
And people
Walker
were
Innis,
acting
and
like at the last second, Pakistan might somehow win,
yeah.
Afghanistan might collapse. Like, but no,
It
yeah,
doesn't
clinical.
help that
If,
it doesn't help that Afghanistan don't really have a commentator in this World Cup. So
Yeah.
there's
yeah.
really no one, siding with them in those sort of situations. But I guess it is what it is. They're gonna make the commentator side with them for the next few matches. That's for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh, Getting into the bowling attack, first of all, it didn't look like a very typical Chennai pitch that we were talking about for almost all of the tournament. Chennai and Lucknow, the two pitches we were expecting to, keep low and turn, haven't been all that venomous. Rather, it's actually been the bowlers outsmarting the batters on certain occasions. But for the most part, the pitch is fine. It's proper sporting wicket.
yeah. For a pitch that, it's a used wicket from the India and Australia game where the ball was turning square, but it seems like this is one where they have used a heavy roller on the pitch, and it's basically flattened out to some aspect. And the ball wasn't really turning as much the whole game. But Noor Ahmed, Rashid Khan, and especially Mohammad Nabi, his spell was exceptional. He bowled smartly. He was very miser in his spell, didn't really give much away. Um, in turn, you had Pakistan spinners just not there. Short balls every over, 2 to 3
Pie chuckers.
checkers, 2 to 3 loose deliveries every over, and it just allowed Afghanistan to not really have any pressure mount on them.
Noor going around the wicket, creating those awkward line and lengths for the right-handed batters. That's just him using experience and guile, even though he's what, 19, 20 years
19,
old.
Yeah, he's the
yeah.
only teenager to be playing in this World Cup. And I think one thing we've seen from the Afghan spinners in this particular game, and I wish they would have done this like towards the beginning of the tournament when they're playing teams like Bangladesh as well, was they bowled a lot on the stumps.
Yeah.
And that's one thing like you have to do if you're not getting as much assistance from the surface. You have to keep it on the stump. You gotta restrict the scoring zones of the batters. And I think that's one area like they picked up really well for this game, and which resulted in a few wickets. We saw Noor Ahmed chipping away with 3 wickets, and on the other hand we saw another exhibition of how to not bowl on these type of wickets from the Pakistani spinners. And I think there's a lot to be talked about that part of the game as well, or that part of Pakistan team as well, of how their spinners have been faring through this entire World Cup. And I think safe to say, just like us, as cricket fans, all people in Pakistan, there's a lot of talks going about their Pakistan spinning attack.
Absolutely. And before we move on from the first innings, is it the best ploy now for Afghanistan to have 4 proper spinners? Like 40 overs of spin is what they have right now, with Omar Zai and Naveen contributing with, the pace bowling.
They
Is
need
this the way forward
they need
without
their
Farooqi?
spinners. They need their spinners, and you know what else they need? They need a partnership like Babar Azam and Shahid Shakil eating up deliveries. That's what they need. I mean, like, if you're not taking risks as, I don't know, like you're the number one batter, and you're not ready to take,
You're not showing intent.
You're not playing positive cricket. Afghanistan is a team, like you said. Is this the way for them to move forward? 100%. Place 4 spinners on tracks like this, you basically suffocate guys and make them make mistakes. Babar Azam got out to a shit delivery, right? Short outside off, and he just picked out the only fielder in the circle in that area. So it's just testament to that if you bowl well and if you keep like Afnan said, if you're stump to stump and you keep it straight like that, people are just gonna throw it away because they're not making runs, and it only helps your cause.
I think we also need to talk about Pakistan's bowling attack as well, like in terms of not only their spinners but also how some of their pacers like Haris Rauf has been very off color this whole tournament. And we have seen especially in the last in the however many matches he has played in the World Cup so far, like his first few overs are going for plenty. Haris Rauf, it seems like when he's not getting any assistance from the track, when he's not he tends to bowl a lot of short balls coming up with a new ball. And of course you don't have the you don't have the fielders let's say deep square leg or mid wicket to protect you, or save runs when you're getting hit in the short with the short balls. I think that's been a major concern as well for Pakistan. What do you guys think?
Absolutely. I mean, the whole talk about Pakistan was with this pace attack, and once Naseem got injured, vulnerabilities. But that's fine. Like, again, the logic behind this is supposed to be that, okay, Naseem is not there, so Hassan Ali is going to come in. He can go for a few runs. That's fine. Shaheen can struggle as his bowling partner, but Haris Rauf has no excuse at this point. Naseem isn't his bowling partner. He's supposed to operate in the middle. He's supposed to be that enforcer bowler in the middle, which Bangladesh, by the way, are missing because of Ibadat.
With Ibadat,
Yes.
Yeah. So that enforcer bowler, he really has no excuse. I mean, he was fairly good against Netherlands in the first match, but that's about it. Like again, you as this 150 plus bowler cannot just be dangerous against Netherlands. I'm sorry, that
Yeah,
is not the reputation that you bring into this World Cup. You
yeah,
definitely have to do better.
yeah, yeah. No, and 100%. I think if you look at the way they started, that first delivery that Shaheen bowled, it's like Gurbaz knew from the moment he woke up that morning what Shaheen was gonna bowl to him. Like he was ready to flick that in swinger from like the moment the ball was released. And you know, like that speaks a lot about the preparation that they went into, but it speaks a lot about how predictable or one-dimensional Pakistan's bowling is.
And the opening pair, Gurbaz and Ibrahim, they complement each other beautifully. One going all guns blazing and another holding one end up. That opening partnership, like going ahead in the next few matches, every single team will be worried, won't they?
Yeah, you have to be. I mean, if you look at the way these guys are batting, it's not like, it's like they have played international cricket for years. That maturity and that calmness, even as Bangladesh fans, that's something that we've been asking for years from an opening pair. For us to have an opening pair like that. And yes, with Gurbaz and Ibrahim, they have their off days. They have their times where neither of them click. But on days that they do click like this, it makes the job so much easier for Rahmat Shah and Hashmatullah Shahidi. I know a lot of people were talking about, oh, Hashmatullah Shahidi is coming in, when that wicket fell, and everyone was hoping, oh, he's just going to eat up deliveries and whatnot. And even though initially he did, just having that platform meant, as a captain, he could just play freely, and he was there till the end to see them home.
I think it
And
really shows us how, like, setting up a big platform in the beginning can help the batters coming down the order to also like pace their innings the way they want to, and then actually like perform their role a lot better. Because we know like Hashmatullah Shahidi, yeah, like he gets a lot of crap from people because he's not necessarily one of those Afghan batters who are playing in leagues around the world. But
yeah,
we know like like if we like really follow like Afghan cricket deeply, we know he's one of those guys that plays first class cricket regularly. He does well over there. He
yeah,
also plays one day cricket. He doesn't play a lot of T20 cricket, like okay, like, but when he comes to the like, there's a reason why he has been made the skipper of the one day side, because
yeah,
that's where he specializes in.
yeah.
And I think with like with regards to Ibrahim Zadran and Rahmanullah Gurbaz, I remember what Ibrahim Zadran was saying after the match. He was saying they know each other's game so well because they've been
Since
playing
under
together since
16.
under, yeah,
Yeah,
since under
yeah,
16 they've been playing together.
yeah.
So when like like Rahmanullah Gurbaz, like if he can like play with a free mind, then that just also frees up Ibrahim Zadwan to go and like, because we know like Ibrahim Zadwan, he has all the shots, but he still likes to take some time in the like up front and just like play a few balls and then like get settled in like into his innings. And when they do that, we saw today like how dangerous Afghanistan can be. Like if they can give like even like a 60-70 run opening partnership, then guys later down the order like Hashmatullah Shahidi and then I forgot Rahmat Shah, like they can
Rahmat
come
Shah.
in and they can do their jobs properly. So I think yeah, like as you said, as Bangladesh fans, we've also been wishing for like an explosive opening partnership like this. But at the same time, we also have to like, keep in mind that like explosiveness, it can only take you that far. Like you also need that
Yeah,
consistency from the beginning,
yeah.
which like which they really lack, Afghanistan, I feel like. So that's something, if they can figure out, then they can like beat any team on their day.
Absolutely. Going more into the Pakistani bowling, the two wrist spinners completely
Yeah,
looked out of shape,
Bro,
completely looked helpless.
I
Usama
think that
Mir
should be our
needs
next topic of discussion.
he
Like,
needs to
because I
he needs
remember
to go
we're
back to club
watching.
cricket in England. That's all he needs to do.
If people who watch the show The Pavilion on A Sports, like with all the four legends, like where they discuss all these things, they had in their segment Ask the Pavilion, someone was asking, oh, what if we play two spinners in the next match, so two leggies in the next game, like Shadab Khan and Usama Mir together. Well, I think like for Pakistani fans today, we got to see what happens if like if you're playing both of them together, because
Yeah,
none of them are in good nick right now, the like with the ball, like the ball, like it just it's just not coming out of their hand the way it should for top quality leg spinners in this tournament. Like we've seen guys like Kuldeep Yadav do really well and like vary the pace really well, really use the wicket. And we've hardly seen that that sort of quality from the Pakistani leggies. We saw like Shadab Khan, like Usama Mir, like both I feel like they're pretty one-dimensional bowlers. If they're not getting help from the wicket, then they just try to bowl quick and flat to the air, and more often than not they end up pitching the ball short and they're getting smacked. So I think that's a big concern for Pakistan, for going further into the World Cup.
There's definitely ordinary bowling involved, but does it also feel like, the fielding, of course, horrible fielding. But I mean, this is a more generic discussion, but other than Bangladesh, with so many other teams being so exposed to wrist spin for the last few years, it's been almost a decade. I'm going to say 8 years that the wrist spinners have dominated white ball cricket. Are batters starting to just play them better in general, even on pitches which offer them a little more?
If you think about it, some of the countries have some of the smaller countries too have some of the best leg spinners out there, right? Or some of the best mystery spinners out there. And a lot of these guys are playing T10, T20, whatever it is, throughout the year, and they rub shoulders with the same bowlers that are probably not in their team but in opposite teams, and they play them here and there all the time. So people are like picking up, to read from the wrist or from the hand, or if it's like through the air that they need to read it. So unless you are someone who's able to make perches out of the wicket, if you can't make that happen, then you just become super one-dimensional. It's just easy to almost hit you through the line, which should not be the case for a wrist spinner.
I think we saw one. I think it was Rahmanullah Gurbaz facing up against Osama Mir, and he came down the track and just lifted him over long off, and that went for like 90 meters almost. So, like if you have if you have someone coming down the track and doing that to you, then it speaks volumes of where you are as a wrist spinner and in subcontinental conditions.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it helps that he gets to play Rashid in the nets.
Yeah.
At 100 Ks. At 100 Ks.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't really call I wouldn't really compare Rashid Khan with the other wrist spinners, especially in the Pakistan team. I mean, even with Osama Mir, because those of us who've seen Osama Mir from back in the BPL days when he used to play for our Rocky Mulhawk's favorite Rajshahi team, like he wasn't my bad. I don't remember him being a guy who just used to come and bowl flat to the air. Like he actually used to give it a proper loop, and even in the domestic competition,
even in the GT20 here, that first year, he was trying.
Yeah, 2018.
He was bowling off the track rather than
just firing it in.
Yeah,
I think it's definitely after coming into the national team, it's that that influence of Shadab Khan just rubbing onto the other wrist spinners.
Yeah.
That also we should also talk about the fact we should also ask this to a lot of the selectors and the selectors in the Pakistan cricket board, if they miss a trick by not including Abrar Ahmed in the squad.
The only thing is Abrar Ahmed hasn't played that much list day cricket or even one-day cricket, so it would have been a risk, but I guess that's a risk you can take rather than picking two guys who are pretty much similar bowlers. But
one thing we all have to consider is that, especially in tournaments like this where you're playing teams only once, having a mystery spinner in your attack could prove to be a very
like a key cog in your lineup, right?
Because you're only getting one game to face them, and if you mess up that one game, then you're done for it. No matter how much video analysis you do behind the scenes to no matter how, but if you don't play them, it's just not the same.
As you said, Usama was always a very different type of bowler than what he is now. I remember first seeing him for Karachi. He used to play in the same team as Shakib and Mushfiq in the very first season of the PSL. And then, of course, he came to Rajshahi. That's a different story. But all in all, this feels like a very different Usama Mir. Babar's captaincy, hot topic of the day. Hot topic of the tournament at this point.
Not good enough. Just, I think
Yeah, I think
the way he's
yeah,
leading this squad, the way he's even his changes, bowling changes today were just not good. Like it didn't look like he was trying to make things happen. It looked like he
exactly.
was
Yeah.
trying to wait. He was waiting for things to happen. Only that one change of bringing Shaheen on, where he got Gurbaz out for his delivery. That one was the only one that looked like, he's okay. He's making a call that I need my premier bowler to come in and take a wicket here. Everything else just seemed like he was waiting for them to make a mistake, and that mistake just never came.
Yeah, I agree. I think when like as Gabriel said, he's waiting for things to happen rather than making it happen. Especially with the bowling changes and also like the field changes. I think he's in terms of field changes, he's been very defensive. Especially in those moments where you need to bring a wicket. Why don't you just bring people in? Set an attacking field, have some catchers and then just see what your premier bowlers could do. If you're if you're just making those bowling changes, but you're not really setting the field in a very attacking way, then it's I think it's a very difficult, it's a almost impossible thing to ask of your bowlers to just come and give you wickets, especially in those stages where the batters are well set.
This no longer feels like, that cute Pakistan unpredictable kind of gimmick. This feels like a proper downfall, an actual losing
Yeah,
streak,
I think
and
it's safe to say
Bangladesh,
panic mode
Pakistan,
has
and
set into the Pakistan team.
Bangladesh, Pakistan, and England are fighting for who finishes 8, 9, and 10
Yeah.
at this point. Unless Bangladesh beats South Africa today.
unless even then they could still end up in the bottom two. But
That's possible.
let's not go there now.
We'll go
Again,
there at
Pakistan.
3:30.
Pakistan, terrible streak of losses all of a sudden when their bowling attack gets exposed like this, something we've never seen before, possibly never in the history of Pakistan cricket has their bowling attack been exposed like this.
Yeah.
So we can, as cricket fans, we can hope that they somehow recover, but I guess
It
part of
seems very
us
high,
is
it seems
also
highly
enjoying it.
unlikely. I blame all this all the Pakistani bowling attack going off form on that game that played against India in the Asia Cup where they lost by that big margin. I think after that game all the cracks started
They
to
just never,
cracks
they
started
just
to get
never.
wider in the Pakistan attack.
I mean, all signs point to that. They literally did not recover since then. So yeah.
Yeah.
And Afghanistan, top four contenders. How do you see it?
Looking like it. Let's see. Looking like it though.
If
If they can beat Sri
I'm looking
Lanka,
forward.
if they can beat Sri
Yeah.
Lanka, very good chance of finishing.
I think that's gonna be a fun game to follow. And as Jonathan Trott said today after the match that he already forgot about this one. He started planning for the next one against Sri Lanka. So it's I mean I think we also need to talk about how Jonathan Trott he brought that. I think he's been an excellent planner in this World Cup. In some matches it didn't really end up paying the dividends, but I think more often than not we've seen at least even if they weren't not able to execute it properly, we've seen we've seen the planning in place. Yeah.
He brings that stability into Afghan cricket, which was always required. So that's always an amazing touch. All right, boys, thank you very much. It's been a wonderful discussion as always. And stay tuned to the morning after. We'll be back hopefully with some good news for the Bangladesh South Africa
Inshallah,
match. Till
inshallah.
then,
Optimistic,
inshallah.
but
Till then,
inshallah.
goodbye.
Bye bye.